We're seeing a little bit of a shakeup atop the Heisman odds after week one. Now it's a three-way tie between Dillon Gabriel, Jackson Dart, and Cam Ward. Gabriel went into the week as the favorite 5-1, but his performance, much like the Ducks, left a lot to be desired against Idaho. It's a big reason why his odds have lengthened to plus 850 at places like FanDuel. And now he's got company atop the betting board with Dart and Ward. Carson Beck continues to also be right there at 9-1. Time now to get our weekly Heisman Hierarchy with Tom Fornelli of the Cover 3 podcast. We're going to unveil the tiers, and Tom will deliver his reasoning behind placing these guys in their respective pots, if you will. Tom Fornelli joining us here. I'm just checking all the Cover 3 boxes. Danny, Chip, and now Tom. Is it too late to call Bud? Let's try to get Bud on before the end of the segment here. All right. Your front runner last week, Tom, was Carson Beck. You went against the market move, which was Dillon Gabriel, and you're sticking with Beck this week. Take me through the Georgia quarterback evaluation.
I mean, to me, this is simple. He is still not one of the favorites, even with all the movement in the market. But Carson Beck, the reason I had him atop the pyramid last week was because he's the starting quarterback for the best team in the country. And then in the first game of the season against another ranked team, a Clemson squad that many consider one of the favorites to win the ACC, he came out and tore them apart. So if the best QB on the best team in the country comes out and has an incredible game against one of the other good teams, I'm going to take that a lot more seriously than anything that happened with any of the other players. We'll get to some of them later, but I just look at this hierarchy. In reality, you know, the odds are what the odds are. That's based on what people are betting. But based on how things are going to play out over the course of the season, Carson Beck should be your favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
Georgia's going to host Tennessee Tech, and just before the show, I was still looking for a spread. Sportsbooks are still trying to figure that out because it's going to be a big one when it's all said and done and finally posted. $1 billion. Yeah, and still don't want to grab the points if that's the case. All right, so that's front runner tier. Then there's 1 moment away. 2 quarterbacks, or I should say, 2 players fit that bill. Let's first start with Cam Ward, Tom.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that you have to look at when it comes to the Heisman Trophy is players playing well in big games. Last week, one of the biggest games on the schedule, week 1, was Miami going on the road to face Florida in something that was like a hot seat game where it's a must win for one side and a can't lose for the other. And Cam Ward absolutely balled out and destroyed the Gators in their own building. And then after the game was over, he went out and said it wasn't even that loud. Games at USC and Oregon were far louder than anything he dealt with in the swamp, which is sacrilege to the fans of the Southeastern Conference. But he backed it up. He went out there and he played well. He completely dominated the game, and he surprised me because I was concerned because Cam Ward is a very talented player, but he's always had a bit of a risk-taking mentality in that, and I was concerned his first game with a new team going into a hostile environment that he would make mistakes. No, he was surgical. He destroyed that team.
I had a bit of a slip saying it was all quarterbacks, only because last week your hierarchy did have all quarterbacks. And you remember I followed up and said, what if a Travis Hunter comes into the conversation? He's coming to the conversation. Why the bump up, Tom?
I just think that if you looked at Colorado last week, they're playing on Thursday night, national spotlight, only game going on at the time, and he was a highlight factory. I mean, Travis Hunter is the best college football player in the country. And if the Heisman Trophy, which is supposed to go to the best college football player, actually went to the best player every year, Travis Hunter would be the runaway favorite. But that's typically not how things work. Quarterbacks have dominated the award for a long time. And the one thing working against Travis Hunter is that he also plays with a very good quarterback who will also garner Heisman consideration in Shedeur Sanders. But just from a talent perspective, he is that unicorn that you need if you're going to win this trophy as a non-QB. He is one of the best wide receivers in the country. He's one of the best. In fact, I think he is the best cornerback in the country. So on both sides of the ball, he is the best guy on the field anytime he steps on the field. I don't care who Colorado is facing at the moment. He's the best player. So if he could keep doing what he did last week and stay healthy and play all season, he will end up in New York at a minimum, is my guess. The only question is, will he have to split votes with his teammate? Okay,
so CU going to be playing Nebraska, and that leads us to that next tier, Tom Fornelli. So again, we had front runner, we had 1 moment away, and then there's wait to see. CU at Nebraska, and Dylan Raiola now part of this trio. Let's start with him.
Yeah, Dylan Raiola, his first career start last week against UTEP, not exactly the most stout of competition, but he looked fantastic. And I always worry about freshman quarterbacks coming in, their first start. You're going to see mistakes, and odds are, as the season goes along, we will see Dylan Raiola make mistakes. But he didn't make any last week, and it was funny because you look at him, and he patterns his game after Patrick Mahomes, so much so that he kind of just dresses like Patrick Mahomes, and he has the mannerisms of Patrick Mahomes. And last week, he threw like Patrick Mahomes. He put up some great numbers. He completely tore apart that UTEP defense, and I think this week, going against Colorado, against the star power of Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, if he plays well, he's going to be hearing his name mentioned in that consideration. And when we look at the Heisman odds next week, his name's going to be on it.
Ooh, okay. So potential plays and tickets for him. Let's get to one of the other guys. It's a wideout historic week for Tetaroa McMillan. T-Mac with a big game.
Yeah, I don't think Tetaroa has a legitimate shot to win the award as the season goes on, but I have to give him some credit for what he did last week. 10 catches for 304 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's nuts. The problem was he was doing it, after midnight Eastern, so not many Heisman voters, because I know plenty of them, were still awake watching that one. But I want Tetaroa to know I was up watching and I saw you.
And it's the Brent Brennan effect. Let me just get whatever San Jose State angle I can in here to the show, because we don't talk about the Spartans all that often. Brent Brennan's the reason why he's having a conversation here with him. And then lastly, Drew Aller with Penn State, Tom.
Yeah, I was so happy with what I saw from Drew Aller and this Penn State offense against West Virginia, because I do feel Drew Aller in the Big Ten is probably the most physically talented quarterback in the league. And last year, Penn State just did not do a good enough job of taking advantage of the ability that he has. New offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki comes in, and right off the bat, vertical passing, using the arm strength that he has to push the ball down the field and take advantage of it. Penn State's offense looks completely different, and in my mind, because of Drew Aller, and I think his presence alone and his ability makes Penn State now a legitimate threat to win the Big Ten.
Great stuff. We'll see you next week, Tom. Thank you.